Hey guys, it's Justin with Team 53 here. Just want to do a quick race recap from New Smyrna Super Series race on February 6th. If you can, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. It does a ton, helps my channel, helps me out with my racing here in real life. Sponsors love seeing numbers, and every single like, every single subscribe really does goes a long way. And I really want to say thanks for everybody too who has reached out over the last week or so with since I started doing these race recaps, telling me how much they enjoy them, and it really means a lot. So, we went into things this week for SARA Super Series, not really sure what we had. Last time we ran New Smyrna, I missed the show here, so I really felt like I really needed to work on things, and I again this week, work, family, it all kind of builds in, and it was tough. So John and I kind of talked, and we felt like we knew what direction we needed to go based on last week, and we kind of tried to go in that direction this week. And I think certainly we still have a ways to go, but to go from where I missed the show last time to where I qualify in on speed, to where John is the first car out on speed, but makes it in on a provisional, I think, for us, it really means a lot. John's working 60 hours a week away from home. Doesn't get a lot of time on the sim at night, and then I'm busy running around all week long doing learn to drive videos, building setups, helping people out, and it all kind of comes in. So we're running laps here in practice, and I felt pretty good about where our brace pace was. Wasn't sure about our qual set, but we were happy to try it. So we hop in here to qualifying. I had been kind of weighted to qualify until the end, and it was more so that I knew where I needed to be lap time wise. And we went into turn one here. John and I, we made a change to gear literally 20 seconds before the session ended in warm up for qualifying. And it worked out really, really well for us. Here, I was able to qualify in lap one on speed. Lap two, I was just so dang happy that I made it in on speed. I knew I had to beat four cars. I beat more than that. And I didn't even really worry about anything else. We qualified 25th, and we just kind of take it from there. So we head into the race, and I mean, I'm way in the back. We again changed gear right as warm up was ending, so I wasn't really sure where we were going to be at race trim wise. So we were kind of guessing, and John and I were like, we're at the back. What do we have to prove? Like, we can just kind of ride here and see if this gear change works out really, really well. So here I'm just kind of sitting back and I'm trying to decide, do I want to come up into this mess here or do I want to sit back and ride? And ultimately the competitive spirit is going to kind of win out here where I'm going to choose to go and get involved in this mess against my better judgment. And that's one of the things with these races, right? Is there's two schools of thought. If you're at the back, you can either try and get all the way to the front, or you can just kind of ride at the back and let things kind of settle out and see if we can get, lucky and get some wrecks. And this week, I feel like it was kind of a happy medium for me here. I felt like the car was really good here early on, and the top side seemed to be kind of working. And I joked with Matt Rolfe about this earlier, right after the race, but I saw Matt was up top, and I saw he was kind of making the top side work. So I said, well, shoot, if Matt goes up here to the top, he always finishes, top 10 every week. If Matt's working the top early, I'm going to the top early, and I'm going to see if it can work. So Matt's in the zero car here, a couple cars ahead. And that's really where I went to, was I went to the top, and I started passing guys. Passed Aaron Johnson, passed Dante Curtis. I'm going to come up here and start working on Dylan Bates. And I just kind of said, like, if we can get this to work up here, it's going to be good. And at this point, I'm feeling really, really good about our setup. And then the bottom lane starts to straighten out. And you'll see here once I kind of clear Dante a little bit, the bottom lane fights back. And this is where I went, oops. We had Blake. Thank you, Dante, for giving us room there. Blake got sent to the top of the track. But now I'm just kind of riding, and we get a caution a little bit later. Dylan Bates, Riley Stenjum get into it going into turn one. Stenjum, heck of a save there, but it just kind of, let us breathe here a little bit. I was a few cars back, just didn't really feel like the car was where I needed it to be. So John and I were kind of talking on the radio, and he's like, I'm going to pit, and I'm going to make some adjustments here. So I'm going to come in here, and I made some changes to the right rear spring perch just to free it up. John, I think, went 5 clicks. I went 2 clicks. I just didn't feel like I needed to be as aggressive as he did. So, we make our adjustments here. You'll see John coming in here. I pulled out right next to him. He slows up for me. But for me, right here, it was learning from last week, right, where I just didn't make an adjustment early enough, and I felt like I got behind the car and I was chasing it the entire rest of the race. Right? It didn't matter that I had a really good car at the end of Oxford last week because I got behind. So we come here to the first choose cone. Jacob Elliott, who helps me out with spotting in real life as well as working on my car at the track most weeks, he's spotting for me here and he's counting the choose cone for us. So we knew where we needed to be here. And I went bottom. You know, Blake shot out of nowhere. I still don't know what happened there. And at this point, I was really mad because it gave me a 4X. But we're coming here to the start, and we got to shake it off, right? We just got to ignore that. And I'm like, man, do I message Matt now to say, hey, look at the first caution? Do I just wait and let it play out? And ultimately, I just said in my head, I'm just going to let it play out. I don't need to be doing too much while I'm trying to race. Like, we got a long race to go here. There's a good chance we're going to get caught up in something, and it's not really going to matter. So we shake it off. I'm behind my new friend Grant Brown. Grant needed some new sim pedals this week, so he headed over to Impel Motorsports, picked himself up a pair of Moza pedals. If anybody's in the need here watching this video, shameless sponsor plug, head over to Impel Motorsports here as we get back to going green. Got kind of lazy on this start here, and that was kind of by design because I kind of saw the mess that was going to ensue, and I know in Super Series when we have one caution, we tend to have two, we tend to have three cautions, and they just kind of stack up on each other. So I was planning on a really, really quick caution here, but we were able to kind of work the bottom and clear Dallas Pataska here in the 23 car. And the other part of this too is I just pitted and made a major change, I would call it. And I wasn't really sure what we had. So I didn't want to be super aggressive on the start and cause something. Sometimes it's better just to lay back. Sorry, Riley, if that kind of messed you up there a little bit, but it is what it is. And then these guys wreck behind us. So we go under caution. We come back to the choose cone here. Jacob's calling him out. And again, I go bottom. And I think we pick up a couple spots here on the bottom this time, which was super helpful. But we got to hustle this time. So I was used to the first caution, right? We had that extra lap to kind of get caught up, and I get into one, and I'm like, oh, shoot, we're going to be going green. So I quick floored it to get caught up here, and I think I barely got it back into second gear for restart when the green flag flew. So you can see we picked up a spot, or a couple spots from where we were. We were right behind Grant. Now we're up here by Daniel Fold. So we're picking up spots, and I'm just kind of riding. And at this point, I kind of said to myself, if we get a long run here, I'm not really going to look to do a whole lot. And of course, a big wreck right in front of us. We avoid it. Barely. Dylan was kind of flying back through there. You'll see it here in car. This is one where I just kind of went, throttle up and try and get through it and then slow back down here. So come to the choose cone again. I think this is the third time now we've done the choose cone. We go bottom again. And again, I'm not really looking to lose spots. I'm just looking to maintain on these choose cones. That's really the big thing. And it's a really cool thing that SARA does where they let us choose, and then they just clear our black flags when we go back green. And it makes it really nice. Here, I'm thankful for the pedals that Grant just bought from me because if it had been the week before, Grant's probably plowing into the back of me. So we go here on the restart. Again, we're just picking up one or two spots every choose cone. Right now we're underneath Keith Jeffrey, and I knew I didn't have a car to be better than Keith. So I wasn't really trying to actively pass him, right? I knew I didn't have a car better than Daniel Folds. I knew Grant was probably going to be better than me. Riley's better than me. There's a couple guys behind that are definitely faster than me, but I'm also not just going to lay over and let them pass. So we kind of rode with them here a little bit, just trying to see, what we had, where things were going to settle down for us. And I caught the apron there, kind of holding up Grant at this point, I felt like. Definitely holding up Riley. And you're going to see Riley run me really, really tight here into one. And if you've ever watched Riley race in real life, he's just as aggressive in real life as he is on the sim. So I kind of knew with Riley being from around here that I needed to just kind of let him go and see what happened. And Grant, too. Grant kind of has a reputation sometimes for being kind of aggressive, and so that kind of all plays into it when I'm driving here and I'm thinking about who's around me and what do these guys do. I know my car's not the best, but yet I don't want to just give up 15 spots. So here Riley and I are dooring each other into the corner, and I drifted kind of tight, and this is where I knew I probably just needed to give it to Riley and let him go because I was just holding him up. And it's still early in the race. I think we're only 40 or 50 laps into it. So it didn't really make sense to be sitting here watching Daniel Folds drive away. Um, so we just kind of settle in here um, and just kind of hope for the best. You know, Grant there, shout out to Grant for not dumping me. A lot of times that would have been a wreck. Um, but yeah, we just kind of cruise here and see what we can grab. Um, and here, settling in and just getting ready for a long run if we can get one is really kind of the play. I think a lot of times, you know, we look at these things and we get a little aggressive on some of these. Going in car here, you can see too, this is where I kind of knew that I had the wrong gear, right? Riley's getting really small on exit, but then by the time I get to the end of the straightaway, I got so much speed and momentum that he's getting really big on entry. And I had tried, you know, backing up my corner entry here. I tried everything to just try and get something to make it to where Riley doesn't get so small on exit, and I really wasn't able to. Jacob too was kind of on the radio telling me, you know, last 10, your laps are good, and I'm like, well, it doesn't seem like it from what I'm seeing out front and what I'm seeing in behind, with Grant running close, and then obviously with Riley kind of pulling me here. So it's just it's super tough in these races, and you really have to have a lot of seat time. And after, you know, 5-10 laps of holding Grant up, you can see Daniel Folds getting smaller in the front windshield here. This is where you really kind of have to decide: is it worth racing someone, or should I just give them the spot? And Grant looks low. I blocked him a couple times, and I just said, "You can have it, Grant." And then Blake had been up at the front early in the race. I'm still not sure what caused him to go to the back. I know he was having some connection issues, so I just kind of said, all right, Blake's better than me. He can go too. And, you know, he's to my inside, and I know the inside here is going to be king. So we let Blake kind of go, and then Josh Caudle's there, and then Matt Rolfe's there. And I'm like, well, I know Caudle's going to be better than me, so I'll let Caudle kind of go. But I was really looking for a gap between Josh and Matt that I could dive myself into here, right? My big thing was I wanted to get back to the bottom. So I kind of find this little hole here, and I take advantage of it. But Jacob's telling me Matt's there at the last second, so I give Matt the lane going into one. Just not wanting to get wrecked, and obviously having respect for your fellow competitor, league owner, league admin kind of plays into that too. But here you can see Matt takes a nice wide arc around the corner, and he tries to get me on the outside, and I'm like, he's not there. So I shut the door on him. And then Matt's just really good about staying off you. You know, if Matt's behind you, you can have confidence knowing that he's going to do everything in his power not to wreck you. So here I'm just really begging for a caution in my head and on the radio, hoping that we can find something. And we just kind of keep going lap after lap here. I'm kind of shutting the door on Matt. He's kind of like, come on, let's get your car going here. And it's just really good top tier short track racing here. This is really what short track racing should be, is a lot of respect and a lot of give and take. You know, Matt gets into the wall there. I see Matt come back, and this is kind of where I'm like, all right, he's got a little bit of a run on me, but he's too far back. He can't really do anything with me. Tries to go to the outside there, overshoots turn 3. I shut the door again, and this is kind of where I'm like, all right, enough. I just got to let him go. And so we go into one, and I just kind of lift and let him come by me, because it's just not worth it. And then a couple laps later, we get a caution, a little net code there. This, in my opinion, it's very similar to what Riley did early in the race. You just get 45 degrees sideways and boom, caution. So we come back here for the choose cone. A bunch of guys chose the top. We went back to the bottom because one, it had been working for us, and two, I think numbers-wise, it just made sense to choose cone the bottom. So we grab the bottom again. We get caught up here. You can see we gain a spot back by Matt that we had just given up. And then we're back underneath Blake Massengill here battling going into one. And Grant had already passed me, so there's part of me that is like, well, it really doesn't make sense to try and pass him back again because he just spent all that time passing me. But we get a huge stack up here in three. A couple guys that, where we would have been, where we gave up spots, ended up on their roof. And you can see here a little instant replay. Just a massive pile up here into three. But again, because we had given up spots and we were racing a lot less aggressive, I had the space and the time where I could get through it safely. Choose cone again. We choose bottom again. It seems to be a reoccurring theme, just kind of going bottom. A lot of guys going to the top, trying to make stuff happen. And I felt like if you had a short run, top side was really, really good. But then what we learned early on in the race, that once the bottom side kind of evened out, it wasn't quite as good. So we ended up not gaining any spots. We ended up not losing any spots, just kind of maintaining here. And then we're going to come out here. We got a lot of cars around us that have damage, and that's something too that kind of plays into your head, right? These guys have been involved in wrecks. They're probably faster than me. I mean, Jim Caudle here in the 15, he won last week. So we know, we're making progress. We're starting to see the front. We're battling right outside the top 10 here, which for me, I didn't know this, but somebody told me after the race, my career best finish in SARA Super Series was ninth place. And I did it twice, all the way back in 2021. And we really, I mean, it's no secret that I've kind of struggled in Super Series. I was taking care of my dad. I wasn't putting in all the effort that I need to put in behind the wheel, and I really still don't feel like I am. Um, but we're getting closer here. You'll see a wreck here. Massengill just gets in the wall. Caudle cleans him out. Nowhere to go, and then I just kind of avoid it. Here's my in-car. Just a quick turn, and away we go. It definitely felt a lot closer and a lot quicker behind the wheel. So we choose bottom again here, and you're starting to see more cars in the pits. And here now, if you're counting, we're in like seventh, eighth place, I think at this point. Yeah, seventh place on the bottom, and I'm really starting to think like we got a shot to do something cool here. Um, and John's a couple spots behind me there on the bottom. We're both just having a good time, and at this point, all I can think about is not wrecking. Whatever I need to do at this point to not wreck or to not get caught up in something, because that's been our luck in SARA Super Series. We get up here towards the front, somebody runs over us in the back. We get a huge wreck here, green-white checker, and I just kind of stay in it, don't really get caught up, and we come across, and we're going to come home in fifth after this one. I think so. Here I slowed down to let the 54 back by. You'll see him coming. So Caudle comes by me. Caudle wasn't supposed to pass me, but then the 54 comes up, and he's gonna pass me here, Cabry. He'll pass me, and I know. So I say I'm waiting for Cabry, and then Matt comes on the radio and says, "Just go across the line. I'll figure it out." So I know for a fact that iRacing wanted Matt behind me because I heard it I saw it on my screen, and but we end up here in fifth. Preliminary results, going to be at fifth place after some DQs here for iRacing. We technically got fourth, but we got put back to fifth with the cautions. But still, I mean, it was a career night, a phenomenal night for us. We're super excited. We're super happy. John comes across the line in seventh. You got moved back to 10th after, quick admin cursory review. But I was going to pull in here, and John's like, let's go do another lap. And so we do another lap just to kind of get some pictures for us and just kind of soak it in. Like, it's kind of underscored how mentally tough it is in racing, and sim racing is no different. Um, so it's nice to enjoy those nights. And if you guys can, make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe on the channel. I know this was a long race recap, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A lot of me rambling. Head over to our Facebook page, give us a like, join the Team 53 Discord. Should be linked in the video below. And we're just happy to be here, happy to have had a great week, and we'll see you guys in the next video.